Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Girls, and Purrs. My name's Leslie, and today I'm discussing A Highlander for Hannah. This was scheduled to be um, tonight, and I decided to move it at a last minute, which is very helpful. So sorry about that, but if anybody misses live, they could just watch in the replay. Um, so here goes. A Highlander for Hannah is about a woman of modern day age. She's definitely done what she thought she should do, which is kind of like a theme of a couple of books I've read recently. She became a lawyer. Her father is a successful lawyer. She's a type of person that's a hard worker. She is known to be responsible. She reveres being responsible. Um, and in this book, there is fat representation. So moving forward, that's the word that I'm going to use because that's the word that the author uses, and it's integral to the story that the author Mary Warren is telling. Um, what I appreciate about the fat representation is that this character, Hannah, loves herself. It's everyone else that is the issue. So in her job, as she works hard, she tries to climb the ladder. She's not really getting anywhere. And she gets the impression that she's being held back because of being fat. And she gets to a point where she's completely fed up, quits her job, and while she's at it, goes home and breaks up with her leech of a boyfriend. And she just needs a break. So her successful lawyer father has a farm where everyone in the family just kind of like pops in during the holidays or family events together. And so she leaves just for that because she leaves early because her family's going to get together anyways. And coincidentally, there's like a Renaissance fair that's about to happen. So she meets with a friend just to like bond, decompress, just spend time together. And a woman there gives her, she buys like a spell, and it's just like a silly little spell thing, um, just to kind of make herself, feel better. She uses this spell, and wouldn't you know it, the spell actually works. The next morning, she wakes up to a Highlander, Graham MacNeil, from 1745, so a year before the Battle of Culloden. And he shows up at her farm, and he has no idea how he's gotten there. And so hilarity ensues. They're very silly together because um, the Highlander Graham is someone that I guess you could say he's just that, right? He's a man of his time. He thinks women should present themselves in a certain way, and he just thinks certain things are unseemly, and he's quick to anger, and but but he perceives like what he does as defending a friend or defending someone that he loves. And so he's in modern times, and Hana is trying to like uh manage the situation. She's not sure what to do. She's just like, oh, I brought this man in this time, and the next chance to send him back to his time is not like for 6 months. So um basically that's kind of like where their budding romance begins, and it's mostly about the fact that she is a fiery person that she is. She stands her ground, and just as he's is kind of like firm and solid in his like personhood, uh they clash, but they also like that about each other, and I thought that was really like beautiful. I really like that. um Let me see, I have my notes so I don't want to forget anything. Before I move forward, I'll just say I'll give this book 4.5 stars, and that the only reason why I knocked half a star off is because the solution to one of the solutions, not the only, but one of the solutions to the story being resolved was like a financial one. And I'm not really a fan of that. So that's the only reason. Beyond that, the story was so much fun. Um, there's plenty of bedroom time in here. So yeah, there's also family dynamics. So yeah, if you just want like a quick, I guess, short review, that would be it. All right, moving on to just that family dynamics. The characters, okay, so Hannah has her family coming into town to the farm because they meet every year for just like a family game. And so that gives the family a chance to meet Graham, but also we are introduced to Hannah's family and we see the family dynamics at play. And I felt like that really enriched the character and her whole life's trajectory of being the responsible one. She has two other siblings that are like unreliable, tend to just mooch off the dad. And I think she's just seen that throughout her life. So that's also crafted a mentality of not asking for help and wanting to just be the responsible one. And so now that her life, she feels like it's fallen apart by taking a stand, she also knows she wants to make a shift in her career. And we just see like the bias in a way, that even though she's done everything like right, um, her dad isn't very supportive. And I have to say, every single dynamic that Hannah has with her family members, it just felt so real. I was reading this and it reminded me of someone I know. I ended up talking to them about it because I felt like I want you to read this book, but I don't because I think this is like going to feel like so close to home, and I think a lot of other people are going to feel that way in terms of family dynamics, whether they relate to the Hana character, the siblings, or the father or the mother. Speaking of the mother and that representation, um, although Hana loves herself, um, accepts herself, her mom is the opposite of that. There's definitely some internal fat phobia that the mother is working through. And I don't know. I think I'm glad it's there. I have like mixed feelings about it. Um, it does bring nuance to the conversation, but we do see how Hana loving herself and also meeting a man that accepts herself for who she is, how there's like a representation of someone else not being able to like understand that because of their internalized homophobia. And I like appreciated that, I think, because the more I think about it as I say it out loud, we see that it's not just people that don't look like Hana that don't accept her or them or themselves. It's also people that look like Hana that don't really like accept that part of Hana or themselves. And so I thought that added like a great depth to the story. I was really surprised. I don't know. I don't gravitate towards romance, and so far, every time I've read a romance, I've been like pleasantly surprised. I don't know. I just maybe I was being biased. So looking at my notes, um, so 12. It took 12 chapters to have the perspective switched, and I didn't know if it was going to happen. Because we get so much of Hana. There's so much like I guess you could say setup. It didn't feel like setup, which I also appreciated of learning about Hana, where she's at in her life. And then it switches to Graham. And I really love that because after 12 chapters in, I was thinking, okay, am I going to get anything from Graham about his life growing up, what he's been through, what's a connection there? And we do. And I loved it. I loved the choice that the author made to just kind of like give us time with each character. And so we get Graham's perspective and we really see that he's head over heels for Hana, just really besotted with her. And that he has had a rough life as well. Oh, once again, this is a year before the Battle of Culloden that he's coming from. It's just been a lot. He's had a rough upbringing. So even though this character is coming to a completely different time and having to be on a learning curve and also grow as a character, um, we do see that he's willing to grow. It's not like I'm saying he's of his time and he's just stuck. No, he's in 2024, whatever year it is. I think this start kicked off in like 2020. Um, but what I liked about this is that we get a chance to see so much character development from Graham, and it's so much fun. And it's all the little, also all the little technological advances as well that Graham has to like, I guess you could say, overcome. And even though this is someone that accepts Hannah for who she is, you could just see how maybe the way she dresses or something throws him off at the beginning, and he's like, "Whoa, you can't just do that." It's not like he doesn't like the way she looks or anything. It's more like, uh, they'll call you a whore or whatever. There are all these just little silly moments that I absolutely loved. Um, that really worked well. So I think that's everything. I don't want to really have like too much of a spoiler chat with this book. Um, Sometimes I really love a book, I'll really go into it. But what else? What else? I really talk in depth? I did enjoy how the fat representation was integral to the plot and also Hana's Hana's character development as well. Once again, yes, she does accept herself, but she did kind of make it clear early on, within like the first two chapters, that because of how everyone else treats her, she's kind of like bent over backwards, become a people pleaser in order to try to like navigate her way through society. And I just love like the social commentary in here, the psychological as well for all the varying characters. Um, and so yeah, this author wrote two other books. And so it's not a trilogy, I don't know what you call it, but it's like in the same universe. I really want to read them. I don't know what I'm going to do because I want to read them and I want to read them this year. But I also want to read a variety of other authors once a month from the romance genre. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But I blasted through this book. I think I read it when I finally started reading it in 3 days, maybe 3 or 4 days. It's a very quick read. Um, I'll say this last. There's so many great moments in this book, but um, I'll get to the bedroom talk. That's what I'm gonna call it. All right. So something I appreciate about Mary Warren's writing is I sorry, I have read from other authors that I'll bring up in a minute that have uh explicit uh bedroom scenes, we'll call them. But I appreciated the way she wrote it. I don't know, I'm not really good at like explaining. There are other authors that kind of like use maybe flowery language that doesn't really work for me, or the flowery language is kind of like too much for me. If you've read that time I saved a that time I got drunk and saved a demon, I did like that book. That was also explicit in um the description of like the bedroom talk, but I felt like some of the words that were used were, I'll say, harsh. They're just so harsh that I was like, this is a lot. This is like a little too much for me. And so this is an example of a writer that did write with Mary Warren of Highlander and Hannah explicit, but I felt like it was so like written so matter of fact, if that makes any sense, that I think I appreciated that kind of writing more so. Another example is not a romance, but I appreciated the way the bedroom scenes were handled, and that is I Keep My Exoskeleton to Myself. This is speculative fiction by Marissa Crane, and I like the way that this was handled because this is an author that did the same thing, is that, whenever it came to those scenes, it was just written so matter of fact, and the way that Marissa Crane and Mary Warren write those scenes, it just feels very, like, actually real, like, t true to real life, if that makes any sense. And so I would rather read content that's explicit and kind of written matter of fact rather than flowery or harsh, if that makes any sense. There's something. Sorry. Um, so yeah, that's what I would have to say about that portion of the book. Um, and how the character Graham really makes it clear why he loves and appreciates Hana and vice versa. I really like that. That's definitely something I look out for in romance. I don't want the content to just be a meet cute and they fall in love. I want there to be like a concrete reason why these characters gravitate towards each other, and that really did happen in there. Um, so we're headed towards the end. Here we go. I did want to share at least. Here we go. I have my Kindle. I borrowed it from the Libby app. Some of the highlights that I really liked are quotes that I highlighted. So early on, Hana says, "But knowing your worth and demanding it from others were not the same thing. And she was not very good at that last part. It was time. She needed to do it, or she would end up back in the city with a job at a new firm, dating men who required more parenting than partnering." And I thought that was that like was the best quote from this. It just felt like someone that knows their worth but hasn't really like put it into practice. And that definitely is something that people go through. I know I go through it myself, not necessarily in the same context, but being kind of like, you know what, I know what I want to do, or I want to do these, but how do I make um something actionable? And I felt like that's what she's figuring out. And I really like that. And in terms of her family, on page 53, I highlighted Hana knew a certain level of martyrdom to her relationship with her family, but she was also scared because if she didn't do it all, who would? Which also speaks to martyrdom, right? uh, and then this is like a really this is like the only other quote I'm gonna share because I just think it's all those little beautiful moments. Um, Hana says, "You are beautiful," she said. He wasn't sure she meant to voice it aloud, but there it was, a small confirmation that she saw him the way he saw her. His thumb grazed her finger. And there is nothing that makes me swoon more than like hands. What do you call it? I can't even, like people holding hands, sorry. People holding hands gets me every time. It's even in Game of Thrones, I think Sansa held Tyrion Lannister's hands at some point, and that made me like weep. That's more than any kiss, more than any like, bedroom scene or whatever. It's the hand holding that gets me. It's a slight touch that gets me. But yeah, that's it. That's it for this review. Again, I love the book. 4.5 stars, I think I gave it. Pick it up. If you've read this, let me know what you thought about the material. And yes, next time maybe I won't change the time, but I still want it to be in the morning. I think just kind of works best. But it will shift. The next book, I forgot to talk about the next book that I'm reading. Oh, shoot. Give me 1 second. This will be like the last thing that I talk about, and then I'll be off. I can't believe I forgot to have this ready. But I have a template on my Instagram. The book that I should be reading for this month in April, I've already chosen. Oh, okay. It's Kit Kit McBride Gets a Wife. And you know what? I'll look it up right now so we could read the synopsis to you. Sorry, I totally forgot, but that's my fault. I really like the what do you call it? The summaries on the Barnes& and Noble website. So that's what I'm gonna go to right now. All right. I'm gonna make myself smaller. All right, so for the month of April, I'm reading Kit McBride Gets a Wife. And the overview is the four McBride brothers have their worlds turned upside down when their precocious younger sister secretly places an advertisement for a mail order bride. Kit McBride knows that Bucks Creek, Montana is no place to find a wife, but between him and his three brothers, plus little Junebug, they manage all right on their own. Thank you very much. But unbeknownst to Kit, his sister is sick to death of cleaning, cooking, and mending her big brothers, so she places an ad in the matrimonial news to get them hitched. And I'll kind of stop there. Um, but that just sounds like so adorable. I can't wait to read it. And yeah, that's it for today. Please like, subscribe, comment below. I really do want to hear your thoughts. But also, I've kind of learned from other people on the tube that pushing the like button is just like pushing me into the algorithm. I guess that's how it goes. So if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you at the end of no. I'll see you the first Saturday of May. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.